Recording in progress.
splendidly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, might be the last one you ever do together.
In one house.
Yeah, right.
One house.
We did it for my mother's 75th, and we ended up with a huge blowout at one point, and it was the last time.
Have a great time, Sean.
Yours is not like that.
Well, I can tell you, it probably wouldn't go well if I did that.
All right, come on, 6:30.
Okay, we are actually live now.
Okay, 6:30 in Readfield, Maine. You can join and help me with the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and thank you for joining our regularly scheduled select board meeting. First on our agenda is 26001, minutes from our meeting on June 30th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. And so 26002 warrants 53 through 54 of fiscal year 25. Is that you, Dave?
I think I had 53. Catherine,
Yes.
you had 54.
Okay.
There wasn't. I had the little one. There wasn't much to pick from. There was 7,700 Ellis Construction. Is that the sweeping, Eric?
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm sweeping up.
I thought 6,401.45 LJB towards the sidewalk project. And I'm assuming that's the engineering, planning, permits.
Yeah, they're wrapping up the engineering on that and moving on to the next phase.
Had 28,558.08, the mainly paving. Is that the? I'm drawing a blank on
That was
the road.
The
shoulders.
shoulder gravel.
Oh, that was the shoulders. Okay.
Should be, yeah. There might be one more after that, but I think that was one of the last, if not the last, invoice from that project.
Okay. Yeah. And the only other big number in there was the 12,942.73 is the Secretary of State, and that's just the vehicle registrations, correct?
Yep.
And that's about it for that one.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant 53 in the amount of $68,885.12.
Second. I have a motion and a second for warrant 53. Any discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous. Warrant 54, Catherine.
Okay, so this was a small one for the end of fiscal year 2025. The only items of note were 1,700 at Eco Maine, 1,200 for diesel for either 4 or 6 months from the RSU, where we get our fuel, and a 13,000 bill to Waste Management. The total was 17,192.47. I'll make a motion to.
Second. I have a motion and a second for warrant 54 in the sum of $17,192.47. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, Catherine, warrants 1 through 4.
Well, they're separate. So warrant 1 has accounts payable and payroll. And then items of note are 8,400 to Androscoggin Androscoggin Bank for our equipment lease, 4,600 to KV Cog. I think that was for a year's dues. $3,000 to the Kennebec Valley YMCA for the swim program. 15,000 to Maine Municipal for insurance, which was half a year, I think.
That sounds right for half a year. Yeah.
I remember asking Teresa about that. And then surprisingly, 13,600 to Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for recreational vehicle fees. When you buy those expensive things, there's a lot of sales tax. So that was a large amount. So the total is $91,828.59. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second for warrants 1. Is that 1 and 2? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, 2 is payroll.
I like the screen lighting. It's good.
You like that?
Just segue right
Roll
into
right
motion, yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
And just for the public's notice, these have all already been signed by individuals in groups of us. So warrant 3 and 4 is again, accounts payable and payroll, and the total is $425,465.98, of which $371,618.11 is for the RSU. And if you're interested, that is $4,459,417 for the year. So when we're thinking about all those taxes we pay, just know that 4.5 million of it is going to the school district.
It's about 77%. That's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somewhere between there, 75,
About
76.
3/4 of the money we pay. I'm not putting down the schools, I'm just saying, we don't have any control over that sitting here in this room. So items of note that isn't part of the 371,000, 7,100 to the Secretary of State for motor vehicle fees, sales tax and registrations. 1,600 to B&H photo and video, that was for library stuff and other tech needs. 2,000 to assessing to Dave Ledoux, and 2,500 to Dirigo assessing for the reval. I don't know that everybody knows that for maybe a couple years now, Eric, the town has a credit card so that we can buy things at a reasonable cost and get them timely, which we had not done in the past. And so that company is called Elon Services, and Eric uses it mostly to buy supplies and have them delivered. So that was $1,400. 1,300 to Hussey Communications, which I didn't look up what that was for.
That's radio communications for fire department.
2,200 to RHR Smith for our audit. And altogether it came to the amount I stated earlier. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, I have a motion second for warrants 3 and 4. Any discussion? All those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you for getting through those. Next section is communications. Select board communications. Any general information from the board? It does say on our agenda too for goal check-ins. Well, we don't have those yet. We're gonna set those on Wednesday night. So we have our retreat.
Goals or to have goals?
We will do both on Wednesday night. So we will start talking about that again at our next meeting.
And that's 5 p.m. Open to the public.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Oh, I was thinking 5:30. I guess I should show up at 5.
That's right here.
I have something to say about Heritage Days, but I'll wait till we have Jen speak.
Staff communication, Eric.
Sure.
Over to you.
So we've been very busy with summer type activities and also trying to deal with some staffing situations, but we've had some progress in those areas. So the fiscal end of year, June 30th, we closed everything out. That went very well. And Teresa deserves some thanks for that. She manages that process and has everything in order at the end of the year, so we can roll from one fiscal year into the next without any kind of interruption. Lee Mag was hired as the animal control officer. And I just want to point out, we had 3 very good candidates for that. So that was a fortunate thing for us that we had that ability. But Lee is in town and works later at night, which is a good thing for animal control type issues. So I'm expecting he'll do a good job for us. And he's already started to deal with the dog bite we had over the weekend. So he's hitting the ground running on that. I did hire a part-time employee to help the transfer station. That's just a couple days a week. We really need another 2 to 3 days a week of coverage. So we are looking for a full-time or a part-time to maybe mesh with the other part-time. But we're in need there because it is starting to impact operations a little bit with the heavy summer traffic. Things are just getting thin. Roadside mowing is complete until we go around again in the fall. The mower and tractor are both out for repairs at I think it's Union Farm Equipment. Or United for the other. But they get used pretty hard, and even though it can be a $5,000 to $10,000 bill every couple of years, every 3 or 4 years, depending, the cost of doing this in, privately is around $6,000-7,000 per pass. So a $10,000 to $14,000 annual expense. By doing this stuff in-house, it does save us some money, despite this. Road striping is scheduled for, later this month with Lucas Striping. The small building roof replacement at the transfer station is scheduled for August 7th. That's going to be happening, for a cost of around $8,500. I'm always just kind of surprised at the cost of services. This is what the market is, and we did get 3 quotes for that, and that was the lowest one.
For
So
the small building.
for the small building, the one that's
It
where
has
we-
the swap shop.
has the swap shop, the brown building in between the metal one and the storage containers.
And we did all the siding on that last year.
Last year, or the year before, so this will give it another 50 years anyway, getting that roof on and having the siding repaired. The household hazardous waste day was another success. I want to thank the staff and volunteers who made that possible. I cut out about 9 o'clock so I could head off to scout camp. So Lee, Mank, and I did meet again with a couple of individuals to talk about the EMS services and try to find a different path. We're still, again, following up on the idea that we want to know what our options are and get the best deal we can for our residents and the best service we can for our residents. So if we can find someone that's willing to put an ambulance up at the station, that's a really big deal. That may not happen, but we might be able to get it at a lower cost. And the same thing with dispatch. We are trying to exhaust all of our options there to make sure that we're not stuck in a situation where we don't have options and we're starting to pay a premium or more of a premium for services that are basically essential public services.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So this would be as to replace Winthrop Ambulance?
Yes, so we're looking at options to replace basically the town of Winthrop's services. Not a guarantee that we'll find anything, but we're just, again, as you know, we've been working on this through the budget process, but we want to exhaust our options and make sure that we know what is available to us and what it costs.
And the dispatch through Androscoggin, would that replace what the Winthrop dispatch is?
Yes,
So
that could.
You're
yeah.
looking to see if that's a possibility?
Yeah, because we had tried Waterville, but Waterville just, they don't have the capacity right now, the interest or the capacity. And so other options do exist. Androscoggin is one of them. They currently manage our PSAP services, which is our 911 answering. And one of the reasons we liked Winthrop was because they, or not Winthrop, Waterville, was because they actually would be able to potentially combine the 911 with regular dispatch services. So we hadn't originally thought about Androscoggin, but in looking at it, you know, they could pretty easily provide that dispatching service in addition to the 911. So same value, I think, as far as the combined services we would have gotten from Waterville, but we'll see. These are both very early phase of discussion, but I wanted to give an update on it because I know it's important to the board and the community. So,
Thank you.
let's see, fireworks are all set. It's gonna be 5,600. Jen has been chasing down lots of other activities and events for Heritage Days. And for the summer in general, swim lessons are ongoing. They're pretty well attended. I'm really glad we have those going and happening. Every time I hear about a drowning in the state of Maine, I think, geez, you know, wouldn't it be just great if we didn't have that happen because people were trained, you know, as kids to swim. So we have that in our town, and I'm really grateful for that. And for all the other work Jen's doing to organize summer activities. We had a fantastic family fun carnival. Jen made little pies for the kids to eat for a pie eating contest. It was just fantastic. I think they had 100 people or so, Jen, is that right? Yeah, just a great turnout. So lots going on with summer activities. And Jen, you can talk about that a little bit maybe when you talk about Heritage Days too. But the new storage container is in place for the rec department to help further their activities. We do need some shelving in there though. That's something I'll work with Jen on in maintenance to get that fully outfitted so we can store a lot of stuff in an organized way. The low PFM station, low power FM station is basically all ready to go. We have a few little hiccups, but we will have everything in place for a soft start with Heritage Days. I want to again thank Jen and Bill, Sarah, and then Kevin Kelleher for the work they're doing to really push that forward so that I can just kind of look at it from the side while I'm doing other things. But it's been a great project and they've really moved it along incredibly quickly. We did purchase Google Workspace licenses, and so our technology kind of plan is continuing to move forward. It was quite an effort to get to that point and to get through the purchasing process, but I am looking at getting some support from the same company that worked with the town of Winthrop on their transition. Now that we have those accounts, I'll be rolling out, starting with the select board and other boards and committees, and then moving on through, and we can talk about that more later in the agenda when we have that item coming up. But it was just a big lift to get to that point. And then the last thing I have is the annual summer residence meeting, August 1st, from 5 to 6 p.m. That's a Friday. And then of course the select board retreat, which we mentioned, Wednesday at 5, that's here. And that's where we do our goal setting for the year. So that's my town manager's report.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions for Eric?
I have a question about the transfer station.
Mm.
So I think you got the email from Mike Carlson, the shirts from Belgrade Transfer Station. So when we did this, it was a great day, by the way. It went much better than last year, and there was nobody who was upset this year, as compared to almost everyone was upset the year before. So it was like 100% flip. It was excellent. But anyway, Belgrade wears these like neon yellow, green t-shirts that say BTS for Belgrade Transfer Station on them, and so they don't have to wear a vest with it. And Angelica was telling me that you guys are buying shirts for various departments in town. So I didn't know if that was something you might want to consider for the transfer station. In Belgrade, what they do is if you work 3 days a week, you get 3 shirts, 1 long sleeve shirt and 1 sweatshirt. And then that way they don't have to have vests on, and that everybody seems to really like that. And it's a little bit uniform, helps the residents out. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, no, it's a great suggestion, and yeah, we were heading similar direction there. I'll have to look at those. I'm hoping they do have retroreflective on the t-shirts, because if they don't, that's not okay. But if it does have the retroreflective stripes, then it does meet OSHA code. So I don't want to pick on them, but I'm expecting they have stripes on them. So
They do make them. I know
Yeah.
they do make them with the.
Well, I'm just really glad to know that you are our town manager and you know that and you're on top of it. That's really cool.
well, we looked at them in the past, and but yeah, the vests are great, but the t-shirts are a nice uniform, and we are trying to move more towards having uniform type shirts for staff for the beach, for public, folks that are at the front desk, all of that. So, yeah.
Thanks.
We're gonna put you in a reflective shirt at the desk.
Treasurer's report?
It'll help people sit back a little bit.
I'm getting mine in camo, so they can't find it.
Oh, yeah.
Treasurer's report, yeah.
All right, so check reconciliation is completed through the month of June. This report covers the month of June. Our accounts are in balance, no unusual activity outside of 2 returned checks, and that was a result of a positive pay issue. As you know, we have that program in place that we have to approve any checks that are flagged as being out of the ordinary. And we had a couple that got through that didn't get approved, and so they canceled them immediately. So we have to reissue those. So that's what that issue was about. So it's an added layer of protection, but sometimes it does have little consequences like that. Budget, in a few short months, we'll be back again with the budget process in September. And actually, I'm certain we'll talk about it a little bit on Wednesday too. So it never really ends, but we get a nice reprieve over the summer. Audit,
We don't get a reprieve, since we're gonna talk about it on Wednesday.
We do have active engagement on the pre-audit work, and again, Teresa is leading that and does a lot of the data collection and cataloging that the auditors want. And so we're moving along with that. Comments on the month of June. Revenues and expenses should be at about 100%. Most areas have been fully accounted for. We do have a few areas that still need a little bit of accounting work. I don't believe, excuse me, we have anything that hasn't been received and started to be processed yet. The warrant 54 should be the last one, but there's a chance we might have something else come in. Let's see, so most divisions were on or under budget, but we did have a few that were hit hard by unplanned expenses, resulting in overages. We will review these during the audit process, and we may make some adjustments. Notably included in this were building and equipment maintenance costs. Generally, we did do a lot of work here at the town office that wasn't planned, that was maintenance as opposed to capital type work. Although we could probably make the argument that some of it might belong more in a capital line, but we'll work with the auditors to make sure that we account for those things appropriately and that we don't have a budget that's over. And then with equipment, we just had some equipment failures that stacked up. Early in the year, we did have that Ford, the diesel that was kicking our butt, and that really that caused some troubles, but we're past that now. Real estate payments are up unusually for the month and 12.5% for the year to date. That's resulted in an annual unusually high 99.3 collection rate. So a lot of real estate payments came in. And so for the year, for FY25 year that ended in June, we have a 99.3 collection, which is 3 percentage points higher than what we usually see. So I don't know where they're getting the money, but they're giving it to us, and that's cool. So transfer station fees are up for the month and finally on budget for the year to date. We took a little bit of work this spring to get things back on track, but revenues did land where they were supposed to. Motor vehicle revenues are up for the month and for the year to date. And that's an interesting dynamic there, but something to do with the fact that new cars cost a lot more than they did earlier in the year, and there's zero interest rates being offered by dealerships now. So a lot of people are going out and buying for the same money they could spend on a used car payment. They're buying a new car, or maybe a little bit above. So it's an interesting dynamic. Total receipts are up for the month and for the year to date. So things generally are where we want to see them. And I think overall it was a good year. We run a lean budget, so the fact that we had a few overages is not surprising. And again, we'll work with the auditors and the board to make any adjustments that are necessary there. So that's it for the month of June and basically for the year.
Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
Eric, do you want to highlight anything from the CEO report? It's in the packet. I think it's really interesting. He's included again the permit types and the financial revenue, which
we're basically seeing a bit of a surge in construction and building, in part because people are continuing to move to the community, but also people, I think are trying to get ahead of any cost increases with lumber and materials. And so people held off as long as they could to see what was going to happen, but now people realize prices aren't going down. And so that we're seeing a lot of people completing work that was started and not completed, and we're seeing new starts. So the activity level is up. We're also, I'm not sure, I can't remember if you mentioned it or not, but we've taken action on a few of the unconnected mobile units. I don't want to call them homes necessarily, but the RVs that are being used for long-term housing that aren't connected to septic tanks. We've had to deal with a few of those, and that's an ongoing effort. And as prices continue to go up on real estate, we're going to continue to have a struggle with that. So we're being as proactive as we can in dealing with those issues that were identified, some of which we talked about and are currently going through enforcement action through the courts. So that's about it.
Any questions for Eric?
Nope, it's a thank you to Chip for doing that. It's nice to have some information from the various departments.
Yeah, I agree. Next, we have board committees, commissions, and departments. Thank the Age Friendly Committee for their minutes from May and June. The Board of Appeals from May 1st and May 29th. Library Board of Trustees, May 14th and June 11th. Rec Committee from June 25th. Trails Committee from April 23rd, June 25th, and their kiosk report. So those are attached online if you'd like to check those out. Next, we have public communication. Any members of the public like to speak? Anybody on? No, nobody online. That's a shame. Okay, appointments, reappointments, and resignations. So 26003, consider the appointment of Elizabeth Silver to the Age Friendly Committee. You're not Elizabeth? No, okay.
Does she need to be here as a first-time appointment?
That's up to the board's discretion, but we usually encourage it. Is she on another one? Hold on, let me check.
She doesn't mention it.
She may be. Well, let's Google it.
Well,
Let me check
does
very
anybody
quickly.
have an issue with making a motion?
Problem with it. Want me to just
I
make
would
one?
make the motion to approve it.
She is on cemetery. Good call.
Oh, so that's fine.
Well done, Angelica.
I think anyone that volunteers should be allowed to volunteer if they're signing up.
You just need to put a date in.
By whatever date is on that.
6/30/28.
6/30, 20, what, 8, is that what you said?
Yes, 28. yeah.
28.
Nice long term.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, Elizabeth, for joining the Age Friendly Committee. Okay, next we have Lori Clark.
Need a pen?
Does Lori need to be here or is she on a committee also?
She's been on several over the years.
Okay.
She might currently be on the library board, I believe.
She is.
Yeah.
Or was.
See the motion?
I would make a motion to appoint Lori Clark to a position on the Age Friendly Committee beginning tonight and ending on 6/30/2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for Lori Clark for the Age Friendly Committee. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Next is 2605, Carrie Osborne. The Solid Waste and Recycling Committee, that one's you.
Is that you?
Sorry.
Kari.
Do you mind just stepping up and introducing yourself?
Maybe 21st.
Yes.
Yes.
Kari Osborne. I'm new to the town. I perceive that you have a need at the transfer station, and I would like to work towards making this town even greater than it already is.
Well, I bet Catherine will be really pumped that somebody wants to join. So, thank you for putting yourself forward. I appreciate it.
Yes, I really appreciate it. And we meet just quarterly and we change our location each time. So I'll put you on the list and send you the minutes and stuff. We're meeting in Readfield in August, so it will be a short walk for you.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint Kari. Did I say it right? Osborne to the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee for a term beginning tonight and ending on 6/30/2028.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We do let people know that you are allowed to leave if this is your main reason for coming. You don't have to stay for the duration. It will not offend us. Yeah. Okay, so next we have 26006. Consider the reappointment of Marty Hainish to the Conservation Commission.
Should we just go with a motion? I'll make a motion to reappoint Marty Hanish to the Conservation Committee for a term ending June 30th, 2028.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And all those in favor? Thank you, Marty, for your continued efforts with the Conservation Commission. Old business, Eric, 25054, discuss technology planning and upgrades.
Sure, so, I did include, an updated version of the, work plan that we had put together probably a year ago. And updated as best as I can. The green indicates work that is completed, yellow indicates substantial progress or something that's in process, and then orange is limited or no progress. And I'd say that we're doing pretty well for what was effectively a 2-year goal. We're working, I think we'll be well within that when we reach the end of this fiscal year. We've allocated appropriate resources to make this happen financially in the budget. And we actually were able to front load a lot of this last fiscal year as far as the hardware and things like that. Those are ongoing needs, but that's a big part of this. And then, of course, the switching to the cloud is going to be the next big step. Getting the staff emails and staff processing and productivity onto Google Suite is going to take some time. And so what I'm looking to do is kind of roll this out in phases, like I started to mention during my report. Start with boards and committees, give them immediate access and to the full file structure, all of the email and all of the tools that they have, things like meeting recordings and all of that. They can do that. So we'll have a lot more capacity with our boards and committees for collaboration and communication than what we've had in the past. And I think that they will be a little bit of a proving ground for us to just help me become familiar with this before we bring the other pieces of this online, primarily to staff.
But you're not replacing our Zoom licenses, right?
We could. Zoom is one of those things that it's got a good platform. People are familiar with it, but we do have the Google Meet.
It's not accessible. Google Meet's not accessible.
It's not accessible. I thought it had. I thought
They all have accessibility features.
but it's
but
not
it's not
accessible. Okay, all right. Well, we can
Trust
talk
me
more
on it.
about that definitely. Yeah. So we will then probably have to carry that cost of Zoom, but that's good to know that it does not meet the standards. But a number of the other productivity tools are easy to use and very familiar to a lot of our volunteers. And so, it was a tough decision, but I think looking long term, it does seem to be the better option. I think it's going to be difficult no matter what. But I do have a good bit of support from Jaron, especially with the Google tools that he uses extensively. So this is going to be the big thing over the next couple of months is that cloud migration for our emails, our file structure, and our productivity software. So that's all going to get moved. We will still use some things, desktop versions, and I'll still offer Microsoft in a few cases to staff that have a strong preference for that, myself included for Excel. Google Gmail versus Outlook, I don't really have a preference or see a difference, but some of those tools I do want to continue to use. Fortunately, we already have a license purchased and with those things. So for the next couple of years, we'll be able to run off those. And then in the future, if we do decide we want to continue, we can buy a one-off license if needed. But so we've basically made a lot of progress here, and at that next phase where we will have to start going to the cloud. Other than that, we have a few outstanding hardware items, but those, we won't even really know exactly the full extent of those until after we get everything transitioned over. So I think that we're in a good spot, and I'll just ask Jaron if you have anything to add or say about this as far as where we are.
I think you've worked really hard on it, and all the things that we had to get done within the next 2 months have definitely got done way ahead of that window, so that's great. I think we're in a really good position to move forward at this point.
Catherine?
I just want to give an outstanding thank you to you, Eric, for doing this. This project only came up at our last retreat last year, and we set it out as a 2-year project. And it's not even a whole year yet, and you're just about finished with it. Thank you, Jaren, for all your support and help. I know it wasn't always easy for all of us, but especially you two, to come up with the ideas and try and figure out what works best when and for who and where and cost. And I know it took an awful lot of your time, so I'm really impressed with what you've gotten done.
Well, thanks. You know, I probably could have done it a little bit quicker, but there were, you know, other things. So, but thank you for the compliment. And I do think this is going to help with our productivity in the long run. In the short run, it'll be a challenge. And you know, the boards and committees, I'm very much looking forward to giving them more tools because I know that whenever we give our volunteers more capacity, they tend to latch onto it and get more done for us, and that adds value. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you, Eric. New business 26007.
That's Jen.
Jen.
I can stop talking for a bit. I'm getting tired.
I think I'm here to talk about Heritage Days, but I'm happy to talk about all of the programming. I'll be completely honest, I didn't prepare a ton, just because I've been working on all this stuff. Do you want me to go over all of summer programming or Heritage Days too?
Just Heritage Days. I
Just
guess.
Heritage Days. Okay. I did give you a schedule, I think. Did you get the schedule and the flyer? Okay, so I have my poster all prepared. All of our events are good to go. All the people that are supposed to be included, all the committees have their events good to go. All we need to do is meet in person at the beach one more time to go over where physically everything is. I've spent about $7,500 total right now. We have $5,600 on fireworks. I did go through with a couple inflatables. We have an 8-foot tall dartboard that's really cool, and it has these Velcro soccer balls. The kids love it. And then I also have a 16-foot slide on its way, which is really awesome. And when we met last time, I said about $2,000 for inflatables, and so I spent about $1,800 on it. I spent $350 on a movie license so we can do our outdoor movie at the beach on Sunday evening. And there's about $1,000. Well, it is exactly $1,000. It needs to be spent on our band that has not been paid to them yet, so that's not spent quite yet. The only needs that I have for Heritage Days as far as more expenses is I'm gonna ask for our food that is served for fairgrounds. We're calling it the Fairgrounds fundraiser. The Lions Club did hot dogs and cheeseburgers and stuff last year. Boy Scouts are gonna help out this year, and we're gonna do it as Fairgrounds fundraising. Greg Lineback's gonna cook all the food, but I'm gonna ask that the food be donated, but if there's any holes in that, then it is gonna have to come out as another expense. Our community really comes through, so I hope it all just gets paid for and donated. We also need to do root beer floats for our sock hop at Readfield Beach. That should be a very minor expense, but it is something I have not bought yet. And then we have our audio visual equipment for our movie. They usually donate their equipment, but I have not heard the green light on that yet. It will be up to $300. So out of the $7,500 that I've spent so far, I would need to add about $300 for the audiovisual equipment. I think the food would be under $4 also. So I'm still well under budget, still have a little wiggle room for anything we need.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's any questions or comments?
I just want to say that I went to the meeting at the beach the other day, and I think there were 5 of us there plus you.
Mhm.
And it was my first time to interact with Jen in public with other people. Well,
Ooh.
I guess this is public,
Different context.
but since no one else was there, and since her boss is here, you were extremely professional. You were very humble about what you know and what you don't know and what you need, and incredibly kind to other people who weren't quite as organized as you are, and trying to assist them and help them along, and just really kind. And then while we're sitting at a picnic table doing this, she's also monitoring what's going on at the beach and the whole area. And then, just, it's just all very seamless. And the area is gorgeous this year. And Jen filled me in on what she's done to the changing room area to make it so that it's, I guess, rustic is a way to say it's not totally dumpy.
Yeah.
But she's painted inside and she's put up curtains and made it so that people don't feel like, oh, gross when they walk in.
Yes.
And the whole grounds look that way. And I know the maintenance people are assisting,
Yes.
but you're doing a fantastic job from my perspective. And I wanted everybody to hear that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else for Jen? Thanks, Jen.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's good to hear that, Catherine. And I know most of that already, but she's fantastic. So
Well, having a different point of view, is good, right?
Yeah.
that's very good.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Okay, 26, you should. 26008, consider a liquor license for Kent's Hill School.
So I noted, just in passing before the meeting started, that the event was filled out for an incorporated civic organization, nonprofit organization, and then there's a space in here that said on item 9 that you select no if you need to gather information and come back later to complete the application. So it's not a complete application at this point, and it is for an October event. So, but this was submitted to us on June 30th. So maybe they have completed it since then. And we don't have a way to check that online. I don't know if you do, Eric.
Kristen may, because she has access to the portal where this is done, but I'm not familiar with it enough to know if she even has that access. But we can certainly confirm with Kent's Hill School whether or not they've completed that directly.
I'd entertain a conditional motion if people are okay with that.
What I would suggest as well.
I'll make a motion to conditionally approve this is a liquor license application, right?
Yeah.
The liquor license application for Kent's Hill School for October 10th and 11th from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. each day, pending the completion of the application.
Do we need to waive a public hearing for this?
That's what we typically do because of the
And
process. Yeah.
and to waive the public hearing as there have been no complaints about activities in the past.
Second,
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? It's very interesting to see the online one now because there's no drawing. We used to have to work through the drawing of how they were gonna set it up.
Right, I mean, it's attached, but not
Yeah,
for us.
Not for our eyes. That's fine. Motion and a second. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. 26009, discuss the 2025 fiscal year 26 tax commitment and consider an annual order on the collection of taxes.
So there's two parts to this. First is the annual order on the collection of taxes. This does allow the town through statute to apply tax payments to the oldest balances first. So this is something that we basically have to do every year in order to guarantee that money that's paid is put towards those balances that may result in things that are complicated and costly for us and the residents. It's very uncommon for people to want to do anything other than this, but the way the system works, we do need to have this in place. And of course, I forgot to print a copy of it off. So what I'll do is I'll have one of the town office available. Does Dave have a hard copy? Oh
Dave's still
man,
got
Dave
his
coming
copy.
through. All right, perfect. So if the board has an interest in that, I encourage you to
Never mind.
Oh, that wasn't.
vote on it and sign it.
Never mind. He has
We
the.
can put it with the next
Oh, I thought
warrant,
I had a
which is
copy of that
next
one.
week.
That one.
Would that work?
Yeah,
So
that'll
people
work.
can
I think
then
if you
decide.
vote to approve it, the signatures are secondary at that point. So if I could get a motion on that, and we can move on to the next piece of this.
I'll make a motion to approve the order of municipal ordinance officers pursuant to 36 MRSA paragraph 906 as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? It is unanimous.
Great, thank you.
Part two.
So part two is the tax commitment, which we just completed about an hour ago with the Board of Assessors. I'll offer them the opportunity to speak on it, and I'll fill in anything that that may be needed after that. So,
Chairman of the Board of Assessors.
Well, I don't think anything really changed, other than the taxes will go up as they usually do. It's essentially the same as every year.
Right. And it's based on what town meeting voted in.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the things that we talked about too is not necessarily like the percentage increase every year in taxes without assessing. I think a lot of times people feel like, oh my God, my taxes are going up. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that your taxes go up. If there's a set amount of money that the town needs to operate, and no matter what the values are, if they're all increased by 15 or 10% equally, the amount due for your taxes stays the same. It doesn't change in that respect, if that makes any sense. Because I think usually people lose their mind because things went up 10 or 15%, and they need to do that to stay within that. We need to be at, the state wants us at 91%, is it, Eric?
yep, 91%.
So in order to get that homestead exemption, because if we
75%, full 75%
right,
back.
to get the full 75% of the homestead exemption back. And if you're not, then you can't get the full 75%.
I think
The
reason-
tax increase is based on what was voted in at town meeting and approved that said the expenses can go up. So since the expenses went up, we all have to pay that increase. It's
Right.
not because the valuation changed.
That's right.
But the
And-
valuation has to maintain that percentage rate also to make sure that we get our due back from the
Right.
state for those
Right.
pieces as well.
Yeah, and so I think the reason that's being mentioned is because we are seeing the biggest increase that we've seen in the past 6 years, basically, which is when you do the math year over year, it's about a 16% increase from last year to this year in property values. But it's across the board, as Dave said. And what that really means is that we have our anchor point in 2018, and we're looking at increased values basically of 25% relative to that 2018 value, which results in that 16% actual year over year change. So,
Which essentially just changes the mill rate
exactly, yep.
more
yep.
than anything.
Yep.
Now, it's not to say that where things are reval, that somebody's couldn't go up more than the 15 or 20% that we normally do. I mean, when they revalue something, it goes, your taxes could increase more than your neighbors in theory during the reval. But when we incrementally each year, just to stay within that threshold for the homestead exemption, that is just equal across the board. It doesn't change the amount of tax that you pay.
I think one other thing to make sure we know is I feel very lucky to have David Ledoux as
Yes.
our assessor. One thing I learned tonight is that the form that every municipality uses, he designed when he used to work for Maine Revenue Service. So the calculation sheet that, how many municipalities did he say? 491?
Oh, it's probably close to
Use,
600 now.
He and one other person wrote. So I feel pretty good about that he's gonna do this well for us.
He probably knows how to fill it in.
He knows how to fill it in, unlike some places around us, right? We've seen in the past.
Yeah, not naming names.
I wasn't gonna name a single place.
So so this question is for the assessors, is that you three? Okay, so when we do have the reval, which will be after next year, it looks like,
It should be completed, not this fiscal year, but next fiscal year. Yep.
right, so in
27.
fiscal year 27,
Yes.
it'll get completed and roll in. Will people be notified will every property owner be notified what the change in their value is? And will there be a time period where they can come in and ask and have adjustments made, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the exact communication strategy hasn't been finalized yet. I don't know if we would do a mailing to everybody with their individual information, or maybe just a notice to check with your tax bill to check and confirm. That is expected, that the assessing services that we work with, which it is Dave Ledoux, but it's also his company that's doing this for us. They are expected to do that. As far as the timeline goes, there will be 100% time available for folks to come in and talk about their valuation.
And they actually can do, any of us can come in anytime by calling and making an appointment and asking what the data is that they have, and
Exactly. Yeah, get an
check if
understanding.
your
Yep.
measurements are what you think they are, if the buildings are the correct ones, and so on.
Yep.
You don't have to wait till the reval to do that.
You don't, and a good point to make about that is that as David goes through with his company and does assessments of the individual portions of the town, the schedule of the relative differences won't be applied until the very end, after every house has been looked at. But what will happen is if there's an error on our part, or if someone built a sunroom they didn't tell us about, that does get picked up. But that's just a mechanical thing. That's not necessarily something that's tied to the changes that will happen in the revaluation when you say, well, maybe lakefront property on Torrey isn't worth the same as lakefront on Maranacook because of the cost differences we're seeing there, things like that. But I just wanted to point that out, that we will pick up and make corrections over the next couple of years, but the overall schedule won't be applied until the end.
And when we all know that the values of our properties will go up because properties have been skyrocketing.
Yes.
But if the budget stays equal and our values go up, our tax rate will go down and the tax would stay the same.
Yeah, out of pocket.
So we don't have to worry that if, say, our house is going to double in value, that does not mean my taxes will double.
No.
My taxes will stay the same. The rate will drop.
Unless yours doubled in value and everybody else's only went up 10%, your taxes would go up.
There you go.
Yeah, we have
Well,
some
then
show
aren't
value.
you
But
lucky?
in theory, if everybody's home increased at the same percentage, then nobody's taxes would change other than the extra money that we would have to come up with for the tax commitment.
So if someone's been letting their property go and it's falling down, then that's a
You
different
could
situation.
technically go down, I guess.
It could still go up, even if it's getting dumpy.
Or up, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep. So the assessors reviewed and discussed and signed the commitment. And so now tomorrow I will start, or I've already started the process, but tomorrow I'll complete the process of the billing phase. So once we have the commitment completed, we move on to billing, and we do try to get tax bills out as soon as possible. There are statutory requirements, but we're always well in advance of the threshold there. So we will make sure that tax bills get out, and if people do want to call or check the website in a couple of days, I'd say by the end of the week, all that should be fully updated online, which is another convenient thing of having an online tax portal.
So when do you anticipate we'll be mailing?
We have to go through a third-party vendor, so likely will be either mailed later this week or early next if everything falls into place the way it should.
And are we putting any additions in attachments to the mailing?
We don't have anything planned currently, but we usually do put in information about tax relief programs, and I expect we'll do that again.
One suggestion I had was maybe letting people know that we do have an annual household hazardous waste program collection event, because now they've missed it. And
It
so
might be good for a February notice, right? Because we send a secondary.
Well, no, we just send the one.
send
We
the one.
We send the
Sorry,
one. Yep.
But I know we have little things printed on the tax bill, and I didn't know if a one-liner about that might be useful to people.
Yeah, well, we typically run a 2-page insert front and back on one sheet of paper. And one side is typically all the tax relief programs that we have available locally and through the state. The other side is usually information about the town, a plea for people to sign up for our e-alerts, and then things like what you're talking about. So I'll make sure that's on there for the insert.
And maybe, I don't know if it's appropriate, but the plea for the Neighbors Driving Neighbors program.
Yeah, I
Because people
think-
don't want to lose that, the people who are using it really value it.
Absolutely.
And we need to have drivers, so it just seems like every time we could put the ask out there, if 2 people saw it and responded, then yay.
Yeah, so I think that's a great suggestion, and also probably something about the fairgrounds, and that'll fill out that page. So.
Cool. Great job, you guys. Thanks for doing that, right, Rebecca? That's right.
Anytime.
We're very appreciative.
It's hard work, right, Jared? Okay, 2610, discuss the annual summer residence meeting. I know I saw an email from Catherine about this today. There's a couple of errors on it, but it has welcome select board chair. I'm not going to be there. It also says Catherine, but
Who won't be there and who isn't chair, so we do
So
need
there's
to
a double-
change that.
I will change it to I'll just say welcome.
who is going to be there? I just
I should be able to do that, I believe.
Did you come last year?
No, the year before.
The year before. you
Last
came
year,
last
so-
year.
I think that works.
I'll just give you guys a heads up. One topic of discussion will be coming back, moorings. I've had a couple of emails and people asking at the town office because there are, I think, 2 or 3 now out front of the state launch. But there's just ongoing, I guess, angst is about the only word I can think of about that. It's unfortunate because it's state waters and local real estate, but the town doesn't necessarily really even have a place at the table. We could, but we'd have to have a harbor master, and that's the challenge that we've dealt with. We've been down that road. And I don't know where that discussion is going to go, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that there are people that are continuing to be unhappy about that. So you can start thinking about how you might want to address it.
I think we addressed it a couple of years ago in the same respect, and it's
Winthrop completely dropped it, and
Yeah.
at that time, it was, they were
Worse.
worried what was gonna happen in Winthrop was going to dramatically affect Readfield. And nothing happened in Winthrop at all, so, except they have moorings and you can rent them and there are more of them. So,
it's a hard thing to get in the middle of, because the way the law is within 200 feet from shore. You can't have a mooring over 200 feet from shore. All moorings have to be within 200 feet from shore, but it doesn't say where you can't put a mooring.
Or whose they can be,
So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you could theoretically just go drop a mooring 150 feet offshore in front of somebody's camp.
Right.
And that kind of fires people up. So
Certainly does.
I think a good approach, well, my good approach would be, you bought lakefront property. You need to know what the deal is with lakefront property, just like if you're on a dirt road or a gravel road, it's not going to get paved. If you're on a lake, people can park in front of your house. It's public water. So sorry, but you've got a lake association and you guys can get together and, try to be friendly to the people who are putting moorings out and see if they can move them if they're really bothering somebody.
a tough one for sure.
It is, yeah. So summer residence is open to all summer residents. Doesn't have to be lakefront only. We see a lot of them that are, but it's open to anybody that comes seasonally. And really, if anybody has an interest in talking with some of our residents, you don't have to be a summer resident to attend. It's open to the public at large, of course.
Eric solved the biggest problem years ago. We have Sunday summer transfer station
Oh
hours.
my God.
So
Yeah.
for summer residents, wherever they live in town,
Well-
that was the big thing. So
It's huge. It's very busy.
Yeah, well, it's becoming more popular, and we might want to look at expanding that to other seasons.
Changing the overall structure.
Yeah.
Depending on staffing would be good, maybe.
can we do that before budget season?
I think we can do it probably in conjunction. Sean nailed hit the nail on the head,
Staffing.
staffing.
Right.
It might be more,
I mean, can we have the discussion before budget season so
Oh,
that we
absolutely. I
can, so
think-
we can budget it in?
I'd,
Because
I'd
it's-
like it to be one of the goals we set, but.
Oh, speaking of goals, just a last reminder before we leave this evening, we have a meeting on Wednesday, at 5 PM, retreat right here. Please think about what you would like. I know you've not sent out the official worksheets or anything, which
haven't.
I don't think is necessary. I think we have a good basis for that.
Yeah.
And how we can run Wednesday at 5. Wednesday at 5. This is mostly for me, everybody. Wednesday at 5. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. I think Rebecca got it.
Okay,
All
I
those,
withdraw.
all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
5 to